champ is here! The champ is here! This is Tory Muhammad, and as long as I have a bowl of bean soup, you've got half.
I say, play this for your church, play this for your mosque, play this for your mama, say this for your God, play this for your kids, play this for your temple. If you ain't playing this, then bully that your temple.
Brother LS, what's been going on in your world?
Oh, snap. A lot, man. A lot of blessings from the ancestors, man. I think I just finished my album recently. My album, Ignorant Intelligence, which is set to drop next month, in July. I ain't gonna get no date because, you know, you gotta let it sit, but it's gonna be in July. I got an album release party coming shortly after that, August 5th. Man, I'm performing at the International Festival of Life. I got a show this Saturday at the Quarry, like interviews, shows, videos, blessings.
Yes, sir. Blessings. And you, of course, you're not a stranger to media, to radio. You've been a personality that Chicago has known.
Blessings, yes.
What has inspired the genre? Tell us about the genre of music that you represent right now, and tell us about this music.
So I call my music, or my genre, Pan-African Trap Solution Rap, for the long term of it, right? And for short, just Pan-African Trap. Well, one, I don't take full credit for it. My brother Lord AV, you know, who's a product of the Nation of Islam, one half of Lost Tribe, which is a collective I'm a part of. Me and him kind of together, but really him coined the term, right? We have a song together called Neo Nigga Party. And it's crazy, like this is about controversy. And on there he says Pan-African Trap Black Urban Rapper, something like that. And I was like, man, that's dope. And so anyway, from that, it was like, yeah, we should just call it that. Because basically Pan-African Trap is really what it is that, you know, I am a Pan-Africanist. Right? And if you're not familiar with the term Pan-Africanism, that means a person who is concerned with the global affairs of all melanated people, or all those of the African diaspora, right? And you take that content and you put it over trap music. Now, trap music it doesn't have to necessarily be like what we authentically call trap music, but really anything that's like urban or anything that got heavy bass, right? Pan-African trap, that's what it is. Solution rap is kind of what I added on to it because that's always been my thing, right? And I don't believe in being conscious. I don't like, you know, like, are you a conscious rapper? Like, what is that? Like, consciousness at its root word means being aware, right? That just means you're aware of a problem. But what is the solution to that problem? And I don't just make rap about, you know, we have enough conscious rappers in the industry, in the world, right? Like, a lot of people talk about that. We know we oppressed. Right? We know we're suffering, we know we marginalized, we know systemic racism, and so on and so forth. We're aware, but what are the solutions? And how can we articulate that over music? Solution rap. So I make applicable knowledge and I put it into my music and make it catchy. There we go.
What inspired this? Was there a aha moment? Is it your upbringing? What inspired this?
All of that, right? I'm from the east side of Chicago, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood, you know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful to not fall into the pitfalls of what the hood brings, right? I'm grateful to have, you know, my parents there. I'm grateful to have, like, mentorship, but at the same time, I know people who have that and still go astray, right? So I have a lot of friends who are either dead or in jail, right? Like, I'm not unfamiliar with the trap, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have family who is in jail, right? From trapping. Right, so, you know, plus I am a fan, and I don't believe in being a purist. I'm a fan of trap music. Like, I love Future, I love Gucci Mane, right? I do, it's a guilty pleasure. I listen to these things because that's what my generation listens, or even every generation, the NWA, right? Every generation has their guilty pleasures. So, you know, I don't believe like, oh, I'm a hip hop, I can't listen to this. Like, I love that. So it's like, how can I make this content? I love that music sonically. I love how it makes me feel, but how can I create that without perpetuating the violence the black on black crime, without perpetuating the degrading of the black woman, without perpetuating the substance abuse of all these illicit drugs that's causing all of these diseases and ailments and deficiencies in the black community? How can I create this sonically while still maintaining true to my inner God? And so I think that's really what the influence was. It's like I'll be in the club and I'm turned up and I'm listening to this music, but at the end of the day I leave and I'll be like, damn, this is messed up. Like these dudes, I don't know if I can curse, but these dudes, like, yeah, it's fucked up, right? These, you know what I'm saying, these niggas are perpetuating all of these things that are making the system work. Like they're playing a part of the system, right? So it's like, I want to create that same sound because I want to turn up. I want to have a good time in the club. I want to still drink and have a great time. But I also want to be fed simultaneously. And I know that there's a lot of people like myself who women want to twerk without being called a bitch. Or saying, you know, you got to twerk for me. Like, no, I make music so you can dance for you. Not for me. Like, you ain't got to pop it for a real nigga. You do it because you want to enjoy yourself at the club. You know what I'm saying? That's why I created. I make guilt-free turn-up music. And that's what inspired it.
Man, well, shout out to the East Side. I grew up on 78th and Exchange.
Yes, indeed.
How was your music being received? I've seen you at some events where it's well received. Man. How has the city as a whole been receiving you?
Honestly, like every time I post something, I've been dropping these things. You go to my YouTube, on my Instagram, I've been dropping Pan-African trap freestyles where I rap over like an industry beat, like maybe a Drake beat or a Future beat or Migos, and I do what I do. I add my content to it. And I've only been getting rave reviews because there's people like, yo, this genre, this is what we need. We didn't know what to call it, but we need this. We want this. It's a hunger for it. I feel like, blessings to the God, I'm feeling a void. And that's why I think at this current time, Pan-African Trap Solution Rap has a perfect place in hip-hop, and it's needed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, people want it. People want stuff they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They like, I know what it is, I just don't know what to call it. So, you know, my brother, the ancestors, we got a name for it.
Man, and I know you've got some music that speaks to this, but I've seen and been a part of bumping or rocking to your music.
Yes, sir.
As a black Muslim.
Yes, sir.
Hebrew.
Yes, sir.
Pan-African.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that importance of unity and the messages that you have.
So the song you're talking about, I got a record called Bullet to Your Temple.
I say, play this for your church, play this for your mosque. Play this for your mama, say it for your God. Play this for your kids, play this for your temple. If you ain't playing this, then bullet at your temple.
And you know, me and my brother, like my best friends from the Nation of Islam. I grew up a Baptist Christian. I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Even before I found African spirituality, prior to finding being an E5 practitioner. And with all of that, you know, I recognize that first of all, each religion has truth, right? You can learn something. There's fruit in almost every religion, right? Really in every doctrine, if you follow it. You know what I'm saying? If you follow it, like, because we know that, you know, holy war is not Islam. You know what I'm saying? That's not true Islam. The Quran does not talk about holy war, right? Just as much as, you know, black on black crime is not Christian. You know what I'm saying? Or any of that. Like, it's not being a good Christian, right? So, I believe that when you remove all of these doctrines, all you have is being a melanated person with a different knowledge and understanding than the next person. You know what I'm saying? I know that a lot of these systems or doctrines have been integrated in a way to divide us. To say, I believe in Jesus, and I believe in Allah, and I believe in Buddha, and so on and so forth. And it's like, bro, we're dying out here by the masses. From the food, from the music, from the bullets, from racism, from police brutality. What is your God saying about that? It's much more important than that. We don't have the time nor the luxury to be comparing religions or debating. I mean, don't get me wrong. Understanding and knowing history and knowing thyself is a bigger part of finding who you are and identifying and finding inner peace. I am a full advocate of that. But trying to argue and debate with somebody else is a waste of time. What is your solution? Are you buying black? Right? Are you investing in a black business or a black bank? How are you pulling your money? How are you raising your social economic status? What are you doing about your health? How are you combating diabetes and cancers in a black neighborhood? You know, so what are you doing about, you know, the heavy suicide rate in the black community? What are you doing about, you know, the misogyny and or the child molestation and the rape culture in the black community? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing about these things that are really issues? Not, is Jesus black or not? So I make music to say, you know, and even that song I have called Bullet Hill Temple, when I say play this for your church, play this for your mosque, you know, play this for your mom, recite it for your God, play this for your kids, play this for your temple. If not, if you ain't playing this, then bullet at your temple. The whole purpose is like, if you're not talking about the root issues, then what is your purpose of living? If we can't come together and remove these silly doctrines and be like, yo, it's bigger than that, then we've already lost.
Man, beautiful. And talk a little bit, man, you said you're touching on a bunch of important, incredible subjects.
Yes, sir.
Chicago, hip hop, you know, in terms of revolutionary movements, from Noble Drew Ali to the Black Panther Party, you know, Operation Push, the Nation of Islam. It's so many here. Talk a little bit about what Chicago represents, or could it represent to the nation in terms of revolutionary thought?
I think that at this current, like, mind you, you know, if you look at the news and how the news covers Chicago, since I remember being born up in the 90s, we've always been, I don't think we've ever moved out of the top 5 most violent cities in the nation. That's thing number 1, right? You have Chicago, the birth of gangs, right? We know that from Al Capone, from the Mafia to the Italians, all the way to, you know, the Gangster Disciples and the, you know, the Black Power, Stones, and so on and so forth, which grew into this different sects. Chicago being a hub of what we know is like violence, right? You know, like, not too much have changed. I can personally say witnessing has probably gotten worse, because once you know, lock up, you know, the leaders of the GDs and the Stones, or once you kill or incarcerate those leaders, the youth who follow those leaders now have no mentorship, they have no guidance, they have nothing to follow. And I think that with that type of history, and Chicago being kind of known for that, you have things like the Black Panther Party and all those things that, like, you know, and the Chicago Defender has a long history in covering a lot of that. You know, Chicago can rise up out of what it exists in. When we do that, you set a tone for the rest of the nation. It's like, oh shit, Chicago got their stuff together, then any place can get their stuff together. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's possible because of the stigma that comes, especially the stigma that comes on the South Side of Chicago. I have a song I wrote called The Vision on my first album, where I speak about the South Side of Chicago in an optimistic way. And I'm just like, yo, we can be better. I know this. And, you know, being on the South Side, being from the East Side, because even from those same, I'm a product of the East Side, and I know a lot of brothers from the East Side, like my brother John Arthur, you know what I'm saying, and other brothers who I know who are products of that beast, but still made it out and turned that script and became better from that. So if we can do it, so can the rest of Chicago. And we can reach back into those, which is a part of my mission as an artist, to reach back to those who are still in that darkness, to strive to distribute some sort of light to them. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta we gotta get rid of our crooked mayor and our crooked governor. But I rest my case on that.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but talk a little bit also. You talked about giving hope in the music.
Yeah.
We know there's a reality that people want to cover what is happening now, but why did you think it was important, and why is it important to give a vision of what the future could be? Because
here's the thing. One of the reasons why I never watched any of those videos of police brutality, like I haven't watched one of them, of any black person being brutally murdered in that way, because I won't do it to my psyche. I understand the power of visuals and what that does to a person's psyche, right? So I also understand the power of thought and the power of words. That's the law of attraction. So a man thinketh, so is he. So when you speak ill, when you say, you know, we're dying, we're violent, you're manifesting that into a reality. So each and every time that you talk about the negatives of anything, you are further perpetuating it and feeding the energy, therefore allowing it to exist. So there has to be a balance on speaking with optimism. Right? Every life is about balance. So as much as, you know, gun violence and, you know, bang bang and shoot them up and killing, and as much as we have of that, you need the flip side covering the optimism and the positivity about the hood. What are the good things happening? What are the youth doing around? What are, like for, you know, the movements and the organizations who are doing work, you know what I'm saying, the political activism and revolutionary work. What good are we? You know what I'm saying? What is the good that's happening? I think that it's important. So I put that in my music to say, yes, this is what we have. But due to my research of history, you know, it's only, you can't kill off the original man or original woman. Woman created the world. It's only so much, even after decades of slavery, centuries of slavery, being enslaved, or even prior to that, even you know, the imperialism that was going on in Africa. We've been through way more than that we even know about. And yet we're still here. And we're still thriving and still being geniuses. And still creating and innovating. We have to cover that. And we have to shed light on that. And talk about that. And cover that for balance.
Give a glimpse of what you hope to see in Chicago in 10 years.
Wow. What is it, 2017? So you're saying 2027. In my mind, I think Chance the Rapper would be mayor at some point. I think that, you know, because of artists like myself and artists like him, and, you know, we can get other artists from Chicago like Common, like Kanye, or maybe not even them. We don't have to worry about anybody, but even the artists that are coming up now, you know, to basically, and you have the blackmob.com, and you have all of these organizations doing so many things, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Minister Farrakhan's building being right in Hyde Park, and the Nation of Islam, you know, Mosque Mariam being right there. Like, it's a lot, you know, the LOC meetings, like, it's a lot of great things happening that I feel like, in my mind, could help propel things forward. I see more black businesses now than I ever seen in my time growing up. So I would like to see, especially the South Shore, being completely black owned. And any hood that is majority black owned to be black police ran, or not even police. I don't believe in even a policing system. To be policing ourselves, to have our own businesses, our own schools, our own grocery stores, our own beauty supplies, so on and so forth, right? And it not being, and honestly, it's not like, I don't mind the segregation. I'm not all for like just, oh, every neighborhood needs to integrate. Like, no, you will never hear me say that. But I do believe that the businesses need to be segregated. So then if it's a predominantly black neighborhood, then let them have theirs, and then the whites can be where they are, and the Asians can be where they are. And, you know, everybody can have their ecosystem in their hoods and thrive. That's what I want to see for Chicago. And for the politics to not be so crooked. Because we don't need a mayor closing every school. And we don't need a governor that defunds every program ever that assists brown and black youth. That's what I see for my city.
So Chance is mayor, who's the governor?
I don't even know. If Chance the Rapper is the mayor, or make Chance the governor, and I'll even go for brother G Herbo to be the mayor. You know what I'm saying? He's a drill artist, but he has a mind, and he's conscious. And I like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one, you have to pick somebody that the hood is going to vote for, who the hood believes in, who's going to follow. Or, realistically, what's the woman who was going to run up against Rahm Emanuel? Was it Toni Preckwinkle?
Preckwinkle.
Yeah. Look, anybody who is for the people, put him in office. And let's find out who the aldermen are and the judges are who are not for the people. Replace them for people who are. That's what I'm saying.
How can people get in touch with you?
Man, listen, everything is Limitless Sounds with a Z at the end of sounds. My website, you can check it out. And it'll be newly refurbished. Like, I'm finna add a whole bunch of new outlook to it, like whole thing. But if not, my Instagram, it's Limitless Sounds with a Z. My Facebook fan page, my SoundCloud. You can find me on Spotify and Apple Music, Limitless Sounds with a Z. everything. Instagram, Snapchat, whatever your tickles your fancy. Twitter, I'm barely on there, but if you use that, Limitless Sounds with a Z. Everything.
And talk a little bit about the inspiration for the name Limitless Sounds.
Oh man. So man, I went through I've always been LS. Like a lot of people call me, like if you know me for like years, you probably call me LS, right? And that's what people who know. When I was at Columbia College, I was doing a lot of those shows. You're like LS, that was my name. But I was like, man, LS needs to stand for something. And then because LS has always been my government name initial, so that was that. Then I was Lyrically Sick, and I changed it to Lyrically Sick. But I actually started to feel physically ill. And I was like, right, we talk about the power of words. I was like, I can't call myself Lyrically Sick anymore. So I removed that name, and I went through a depression. Like I went through a dark depression. I lost my best friend, rest in paradise, Olotun Bosun Obasanya. I lost my grandfather, Willie Smith. And, I was hospitalized like really 3 months, like back to back. I was going through a deep depression. I was broke as I've ever been. Love life wasn't nothing, family issues, everything you can think about, all at once. And in that depression, I listened to a lot of, all I listened to was Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I listened to 808s and Heartbreaks, Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon, and Tupac and Nas, like all of that stuff. And I listened to it, and it helped me go through my depression. And in me, I was like, I need to change my name because it doesn't fit my spirit at that time. So in that, and nor did my music, what I was talking about, didn't fit who I was. So when I was listening to Lauryn Hill, mainly, I was like, man, this makes me feel some type of way. Why doesn't my music or my brand reflect this? Why doesn't it sound like this? It's not making me feel like this. So in that, I was like, I have to redo everything. I have to reshape everything. And in doing that, I literally looked through the whole dictionary because I wanted to keep LS, looking for L words and S words. I promised to the God. And I landed on Limitless. And I was like, man, Limitless speaks to who I am as a person because I believe in a higher power who is infinite, right? I believe that knowledge is infinite, love is infinite, right? And, I didn't want to be, restricted or put in a box with anything. So I'm like, wait, limitless. Limitless what? Limitless sounds, because that's what I do. I create music. And I was like, man, I don't want to be put inside a genre. Like, yes, people see I do hip-hop now, but in 5 years, I might not want to do hip-hop. Shit, next year, I might not want to do hip-hop. If I want to drop an opera album, I can, right? Because I'm Limitless Sounds. If I want to do rock, or damn it, I don't know, Afrobeat, which I will. Right? Like, which I, or reggae, which I will. You know what I'm saying? If I want to do whatever, I have the ability to. People can't be like, oh man, he went pop. Like, no, you can't say any of that. I'm Limitless Sounds. This is what I do. My sounds have no limit. That's how I came up with the name.
Man, beautiful.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to people in closing? Listen,
man, I am limitless and so are you. It's my mantra. I strongly believe that. That's my positive affirmation I give to people. Know that there are no boundaries. There's nothing that you can't do. There's no limit on your mind, right? You follow your first mind and it never steer you wrong. Eat healthy. I advocate alkaline diets.